What's happening, everyone? Welcome back to G-Ball Vision. Thank you for stopping in. Today I have for you guys another exciting unboxing to dig into. Before we get started, double check and make sure you are subscribed to the channel. I would love to have you here. And before you head out, do me a huge favor. Hit the thumbs up button. I greatly appreciate it, everyone. Really helps get the videos pushed out there to more people. And feel free to let me know what you are carrying in your pockets today down in the comments. So I just took this out of the mailer. Huge shout out to Kizer for sending this in for us to take a look at. This is going to be out of Kizer's premium line of knives because we have the sleeve here and then we have the double magnetic closure. And then on top you'll have your paperwork and a microfiber cloth as well as a sticker and some extra hardware there. And then inside, underneath all of that, we shall have our pouch here that is going to have our knife in it. And I'm excited, guys. This is a knife that I have not checked out yet. What we are looking at is the Kizer Veritas, and this is going to be considered the new version of the Veritas. It has an all DLC'd frame. The original version was uncoated on an uncoated frame, I believe. But this one is definitely a beautiful looking knife. Now I believe it's is it Jacob Lundquist as the designer? If that's wrong, don't kill me for it, but I think that is the designer. Now, what really attracted me to this knife originally was simply the milling that has been done on this titanium handle here. It's not something that you see. Very rarely do you see something quite like this. I think we're going to see a lot more of it in the future, especially from Lundquist, from Kizer. And then what's really cool is you see that little shading there. What that is a filler tab, so that way a lefty can switch that pocket clip around. What an ingenious way of doing things. It just keeps it extremely clean, and it's going to be partially recessed in there, I believe, at least slightly. And then we have this really cool looking squared pivot with a little triangle kind of up here hanging out. I'm not sure what the idea behind that is, but hey, that's cool. And then on the clip side here, we have a nice, short, slim, 3D milled titanium pocket clip. Feels like it has good retention. It has a little inverse ramp underneath there. And then we have a blue anodized tooled pivot there. And then our titanium backspacer is also going to have what looks like a lightning ano on it as well, or a blue ano. I'm not sure. The lighting is goofy in here right now, and it looks like a lightning ano, but it could be a blue ano. Let's flip this guy open. Ooh, that's got a good detent. Woo, okay. Nice drop point blade. Nice, and ooh, that's nice and thin down there behind the edge. Average blade stock for a knife like this. We have a nice cutout for deployment. We're looking at S35VN for our steel choice, which right behind 154 cm, S35 is Kizer's bread and butter steel. 154 for their more affordable line, and then S35 is going to be their bread and butter for, you know, their upper tiered knives. Now, Kizer is one of them companies that is not afraid to experiment with other steels. I mean, for over the last year, I've seen them do LC200N. I've seen them do 20CV, S35, S35 of course, S45, LMAX, I believe. They've done a bunch of different stuff, and 3V, 4V. I really have enjoyed, you know, what Kizer has been offering to the knife community over the last couple of years, but more specifically over the last year or so. They've really been hammering out some fantastic designs, some fantastic fit and finish overall. Just very well done. One thing I would love for Kizer to do is to move the logo to the pivot there. And man, that would be just, it would be almost all but game over. I mean, they already do. But I was going to say, you know, they would have in my opinion, they are the top dog between 75 and like 175. You do have Miguron in there as well. But they just don't quite put out as many models as Kizer does at the rate Kizer does. I think Kizer really has a stranglehold. That's just something I nitpick on every single knife that has it. Is that something to, you know, stop you from going and picking a knife up? No, not at all. If that's, you know, if you love the design and the materials, a little bit of branding on the blade, it's been being done for decades at this point. We are just, as a community, you know, as a whole, I believe, trying to eradicate that one step at a time. Let's get our issuing stitches hank out here and see what this looks like in the pocket. Good retention over that little inverse ramp. Now this is going to act just like a normal milled clip. You'll have a little bit poking out of the pocket. And if for some reason this is the first time you are seeing this knife, it's definitely made its rounds. It's right at the 1/2 inch, which is what we look for. 1/2 inch and under is going to be good to go, because what that provides you is a nice amount of surface area to pull this knife out of your pocket and or put it back down into your pocket. We'll take a little closer look at this guy here. But if this is the first time you're seeing this for whatever reason, maybe you're new to the knife community or you just don't watch a whole lot of knife videos or other channels, whatever it may be, you do not have to just take my word for it. You know, anyone who has this knife that's watching this video will let you know down in the comments how awesome and well done this knife is. And there is going to be, I bet at this point, dozens upon dozens of other content creators who have made videos on the different Veritaases that are out there. We do have a perfectly centered blade there. There's going to be no detent lashing there. There's no pivot lash there. And lockup is going to be sitting nice at like 50%, 40 to 50% or so. You do have a great amount of access to that lock bar with a nice chamfer on the lock bar. Going to be very easy to disengage this guy and let it go home. The detent, I think I already said it, but if I didn't, it is nice and snappy, guys. The front flipper works very well, and it might appear that it wouldn't work very good, and there are cases where a front flipper like this just does not work that well. In the case of this knife specifically with this design, it really works good. You can get a lot of leverage on there, a lot of surface area, and it's very comfortable too as well. You don't have anything pokey that you might end up running into. Very snappy on that front flipper. You'll be able to easily get to that cutout with the reverse flick there. And then if you can stay off the lock bar here, you can thumb flick it out as well. That may or may not take some practice for you, but it can definitely be done once you get used to training your finger, your pointer finger mainly, to just kind of hang out back there. It does take some practice though. It took me quite a while to really get that figured out. Let's check this edge, and we are going to have another beautiful edge from Kizer here. Look at that. Razor sharp, baby. Nice little S-cut. Woo-hoo. Yeah. This is going to be one that is fun to cut with right here. Ooh, yeah, that's got a nice edge on it. Very, very nice. So the next thing I want to cover is ergonomics. One thing, I've always wanted to check this knife out, but they were either not in stock when I could afford to get one, and or they were in stock, and I just couldn't hack it at the time, right? And more often than not, these were just out of stock and you could not get them, because this was and still is, I believe, a very hot knife. I think they're more available now than they used to be, for sure. But because of this full finger choil here and the way this is done, you have kind of like a half square cutout here. Some knives like this can be questionable for ergonomics depending on your hand size. But the way this one is done, and because you do have that full finger choil there, you're basically going to designate your middle finger. Obviously, when you're choked up, your middle finger will fall in there by itself and your pointer finger will be up here in the choil. So you're going to have a ton of control over this knife. A little bit more, I might add, than normal. Just because you are really locked in here between the choil and this cutout, you are just really locked in there. Now, in the standard grip, that is going to solely be for your pointer finger there. But I would have to say, you know, most cases you're going to be up here unless you're just doing a really quick cut or something like that. The other great thing is, because you have that full choil, you'll be able to get right up on the tip of this guy and do more precise work if need be. But that is a great design cue from Jacob Lundquist. I believe it's Jacob Lundquist. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it is Jacob Lundquist. But a very nice touch, design touch from him. And then just another one on the belt for Kizer. Another spectacular build. Now the final question is going to be, how's that lock holding up? We're just going to lightly check this guy. There's no movement up or down. And there's no movement side to side. Feels locked up very well. We'll give it a couple of taps here and see what happens. Well, that would have done it right there. One more for good measure, right in the center. Yep, that would have done it right there, guys. Unless you're doing something asinine with the knife. I think you're going to be in pretty good shape, which has been the case in my experience over the last, I don't know, 6 months or so. Most knives these days, since the fiasco with, you know, the lock failure video and the rage going through the community, I think some companies, you know, I don't know if I had anything to do with that or not. And if I did, you know, it is what it is. But if I didn't, you know, still is what it is. But there was no, you know, secret motive for me to do that lock testing video. It was just to get awareness out there. Knife safety is really, you know, a thing no matter what knife you're dealing with. You have to be and handle these knives carefully and safely. They are not toys. You can get badly injured, you know, and or worse with a very sharp knife and a faulty lock. So it's just something to keep in mind. But, you know, the end goal that I wanted to come out of all that was companies to just take it upon themselves to start making sure more often that their knives are locking up the way that they should be. And I know there was a point in time before the action craze took over that companies were semi-concerned with that. You know, over the last couple of years, though, the action craze took over, and I think the lockup kind of went to the side. But since then, they've been able to incorporate incredible action along with a solid lockup, and I knew it was possible. It is possible to get both. There was people out there who would say, you know, you're going to have horrible action if the lockup is solid. Or you're not going to be able to barely open the knife if everything's as tight as it should be to stay locked up like that. And just a whole bunch of stuff. And just a lot of people making a lot of excuses. But here's a prime example, guys. You can have a solid lockup and incredibly good action. It can be done. This is a great example of that. Let me know what you guys think of Kizer, the Veritas. I love hearing from you guys. hit the thumbs up button. I always appreciate that, guys. If you're new here, we release videos just like this one every single day. Hit the subscribe button, ring the little bell. I would love to have you here. Otherwise, guys, I'll throw up a couple of new videos. Go check one of them out. Have yourself an awesome day. Thank you for watching. I will catch you on the next one.